We're back. Time for another edition of the Carolina Insider. Let's grab the wheel. We're going to drive through social media. It's the Social Drive presented by Reed's Jewelers, Jones Angell, Adam Lucas. And let's start where we often start. That's with Australian Open doubles action. Rinky Hijikata, former Tar Heel, takes home the doubles title. Let's watch this final point that brought home the championship. In the Australian Open for Rinky Hijikata, he becomes just the second Tar Heel to ever win a major championship. Don Johnson was part of a doubles team that won Wimbledon back in 2001. I mean, Rinky Hijikata pretty relatively out of Carolina, so a young guy. They were a wild card entry into the event, so not a ranked team in the event. It's the first event he had ever played with his partner. And they're both Australian natives. What a story.
It was really fun to watch. It was an incredible run. They beat the top-seeded team in the field. As you saw in the clip, the Australian crowd really got behind them. And just Rinky Hijikata gave a really nice shout out to Sam Paul and Trip Phillips in the post-championship press conference, talking about how he had played doubles at the University of North Carolina, and Coach Paul always emphasized it. He felt like that had helped him. Obviously it did. He's now a Grand Slam champion. And that's one of the great things about Tar Heel athletics, Jones, is you have all these athletes in these different sports that, I don't know, you might say give you a little vested interest in following along with them.
Rinky joined us for the audio pod, by the way, in September. If you want to go back and listen to the full interview with him, that was September 9th of 2022. Adam, I feel like we should have Rinky back on best if we can.
Well, and he was incredibly normal when he was in here. He had just played in the U.S. Open, which at the time, that was really cool. Yeah. Little did we know, 3 or 4 months later, he's going to go win the Australian Open. So when he gets back in Chapel Hill, we're going to have him bring the trophy in here. And then
do you think he'll bring the trophy?
I don't know if he just carries it around with him. Like, I'm guessing he leaves it in Australia, but he should bring it back here. Yeah. And then you and he can reenact the chest bump.
Congratulations again. What a terrific accomplishment for a former Tar Heel. That is really cool. All right, let's go from there to some Tar Heels in the NBA. Let's start with Cole Anthony. Look, Cole Anthony, I deem he is athletic. Let's see if this dunk follows up what I'm trying to say. All right, there he goes. Gets the steal. Out into the open court. Yes, that's pretty nice. Adam, let's see this in slow motion.
See right here, look at that. Just
yeah, that's pretty good. Cole Anthony's been in the dunk contest.
Yeah, and remember, he didn't feel like he had the best performance, but he had good stuff like that. Like for an in-game dunk.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's probably better than anything you're going to see at this year's dunk contest, which mostly features people you haven't heard of.
Wait a second. Did you say in-game dunk? Let's head back to Australia, shall we? Brady Manek also with a big-time throwdown in the action. Brady Manek, by the way, has been playing great, and yeah.
There we go, big fella. That right there is a statement.
You can tell as we're going to get lots of different looks at this. Brady excited. I enjoy the fire extinguishers that go off on the base of the basket after big plays like this. You'll get a good look at it here, I think, on the next angle. Yeah.
Well, I'm curious to know how these operate. Does someone sit there with their finger on the button at all times just waiting for Brady Manek to unleash havoc on an unsuspecting defender?
Brady Manek, NBA? I mean, why isn't he getting a chance? I mean, he can shoot. He's had a great year in Australia. He's going to get a chance.
He's averaging about 12 points a game, about 5 rebounds a game in a good league. I think best news for him, that's a really good fit for him. I think he's liked it. He's fit in well. Some chatter, depending on how his team finishes out the season, whether they make the playoffs, depending on how that goes, you might see Brady Manek back at the Smith Center, a couple of home games later this year. Who's left on that home schedule? So we'll have to see what happens. Not pulling against him, but if he could come back, that'd be good too.
Another former Tar Heel that's doing great things, and good to see him healthy, is Cam Johnson, returning from a torn meniscus that cost him several months of this season, but he has been playing great since he returned. You see some of the numbers there in the 5 games back, averaging nearly 18 points. You know he's a terrific shooter, period, but particularly from distance, better than 51% from three-point range. And Cam recently joined another one of our favorites, Theo Pinson, on Theo's podcast. Theo, where'd you get that podcasting start? Just a reminder. And let's take a listen to what those two former great Tar Heels had to say.
Every team in college basketball comes into the season thinking that they could at least make the NCAA tournament, win their conference, and have a chance to win the national championship. You're like, no way every team comes into the season thinking that they know they're going to lose. They know they're going to lose. Do you remember this?
Let me.
I'm like, no, I promise you, even the worst teams in
I'm glad I'm blessed to have this platform and say this. Every team comes in thinking that, but every team don't have a realistic chance of doing it.
No shot.
Okay. You played for Carolina for 2 years.
We legitimately had a good team.
You have a legitimate chance when you go to Carolina.
Just a couple Tar Heels chopping it up about the NCAA tournament, Adam.
I like their setup.
Yeah, I do too. They were very relaxed. I like the nice kitchen in the background.
Yeah, like if they get hungry, go over, fix a snack while they're podding. We need to look into that.
Speaking of kitchens, I guess maybe you don't enjoy being in the kitchen if you call Uber Eats a bunch. Adam, I'm not even going to get worked up about this. Calvin made this Photoshop of the Uber Eats guy that interrupted the Duquesne basketball game as a prank for the gram. It infuriates me, and that angers me just seeing that.
Strongly recommend you go back and listen to Jones's How Can You Justify That on Friday's audio pod if you haven't already.
Yeah. All right, I had never seen this next video until our pre-production meeting of the show today. Yes, well, I tell you what, no need to even set it up. Let's just take a listen.
I was viciously attacked. By Brett LeClaire, Brett who works in the Smith Center. Brett probably spoken to those ladies down in New Orleans and wanted to get a shot of the goods from behind. So Adam, I fully admit this is my routine after home games. I absolutely raid the Coke machine in the back so that I will have delicious hydration throughout the week.
Might be low. The number might be low. Maybe I had some more hidden in my backpack. Classy backpack.
I picture Miles in like a surveillance van outside the Smith Center, and when you walk up, you're like, it's go time, guys.
All right, we got to burn through the rest of this. Let's start with one of Adam's favorite, JJ Redick. He was on that podcast recently talking about something. Let's listen.
My line has always been, and I'm sorry, John, but my line has always been that when people ask about the hatred that I got at Duke, I have zero issue with any opposing fan bases. I love Carolina fans, sincerely. It was like such a pleasure to be part of that rivalry. There were some incidences at Wake or at Florida State, but like I have no ill will towards any fan bases.
If you drive in the triangle like we're driving through social media right now, you know there's a section of Interstate 40 that's named for Coach Williams and a section that's named for Coach Smith. There's been some talk that there'll be a section of, I believe it's maybe Highway 751. Yeah, that's right. That may be named for Coach Krzyzewski, and Blind Man Dan with a suggestion there. We'll just keep on moving. You're a smart man, Blind Man Dan. We've got some more Duke stuff. We're going to hold on to it. We're running out of time. We'll end with Coach Williams. Great to see Coach Adam head up to Monmouth, where there's a bunch of Tar Heels. There you see, that's from left to right. Derek Phelps, King Rice, of course, Coach Williams, Jimmy Black, and Brian Reese. Bunch of great Tar Heels there. 3 of those 5 on staff there at Monmouth. And if you have come to a game in the Smith Center this year, you know there's the Don't Smile cam. We may have an all-time champion. Yeah, Adam's good at that. We may have an all-time champion there with Avery Hoots. She and Coach Williams are practicing. Coach, you've got a good one there. I think Avery's the undisputed champ, though. Maybe Adam. Look, maybe Adam will challenge Avery Hoots. Y'all don't understand that. Yeah, look at that. That's Adam's everyday face. That's what we deal with every day. All right, we got to go. Thanks for being with us, Adam. Oh, we got him. Yes. Thanks for being with us.
I just wanted to prove I wasn't made of stone.
here on the Carolina. Your heart is here on the Carolina Insider.